First up, the Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny from 1950, specifically the version without a mint mark. If you're a coin collector or just curious about rare pennies and their value, stick around because we're breaking down everything you need to know, from its history to what it's worth in today's market. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny is part of the classic Wheat Pennies series. Minted from 1909 all the way until 1958, these pennies feature the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the distinctive wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing America's agricultural heritage. So, why are we focusing on the 1950 penny without a mint mark? Well, first, let's quickly explain what a mint mark is. A mint mark is a small letter on a coin indicating where it was produced. For Lincoln pennies in 1950, the main mints were Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark on pennies at that time, so if you see a 1950 penny without a mint mark, it's from Philadelphia. Okay, so that's the background. Now, the million-dollar question: how much is a 1950 wheat penny without a mint mark actually worth today? Most 1950 Philadelphia wheat pennies you'll find in circulation are pretty common and typically worth just a few cents, usually around 2 to 10 cents if they're in average condition. But here's where it gets interesting. The condition of your coin can drastically change its value in numismatics. We grade coins on a scale from poor P1 all the way up to mint state MS70, which is essentially flawless. A 1950 penny in mint state or near mint state condition, meaning nowhere, sharp details, and great luster, can be worth significantly more. For example, a 1950 wheat penny without a mint mark graded -65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can fetch anywhere from $150 on today's market. If you're lucky enough to have one graded MS67 or above, you could see values soar to $200 or more. Why the jump? Because high-grade coins from the Philadelphia Mint are much rarer than their worn counterparts, and collectors prize these pristine specimens. Here's a quick rundown of the key factors that influence the value of your 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. Without a mint mark condition, the higher the grade, the better rarity. While not extremely rare, high-grade versions are scarce. Eye appeal, strong luster, no discoloration, and clear details add premium value. Certification: graded coins from reputable companies usually sell for more. Now, there's also something called a double die error for some pennies that can push value even higher. But for the 1950 no mint mark Lincoln penny, these error coins are less common. So if you find one, definitely get it checked by a professional. You suspect you have a high-grade or error 1950 wheat penny, take it to a professional coin dealer or submit it for grading. It's the best way to unlock its true market value. A 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is a piece of American history. Most are worth $1,000 in worn condition. But if yours is in excellent or mint condition, it could be worth anywhere from $1,500 or more today. Always consider professional grading to maximize your coin's value. The 1940 for wheat penny without a mint mark. Yes, the rarest of the rare, and we'll talk about how even damaged coins from this year can still hold serious value in today's market. So if you're a collector or just curious about rare coins, stick around because this is gonna be good. First, a little background. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, minted from 1909 to 1958, is one of the most beloved coin series in American history. Featuring the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, these pennies are popular among collectors now. 1944 was a significant year. World War II was still raging, and the U.S. Mint was primarily focused on producing coins for the war effort. During this time, most pennies were minted using recycled copper from shell casings, except in 1943, when pennies were made from steel. In 1944, copper pennies resumed production. Here's where it gets interesting. Normally, pennies minted in Philadelphia, the primary mint, carry no mint mark. But for 1944, Philadelphia pennies were made with recycled copper and bear no mint mark, which is standard. However, there's a twist. Some 1944 pennies with no mint mark are incredibly rare because they were struck on the wrong plankets. Specifically, leftover plankets meant for 1943 steel pennies. Or sometimes, you find 1944 pennies struck on plankets from the 1943 batch, which gives them unique characteristics. These are considered errors or varieties and can be very valuable. While most 1944 pennies are common, those struck on incorrect plankets or with errors are extremely rare. Metal composition. Most 1944 pennies were made of copper, but errors might involve steel or zinc plankets condition. Obviously, the better the condition, the higher the value, but even damaged examples can fetch a surprising price due to their rarity. Now, let's talk about condition, especially damaged coins. Normally, damage like scratches, corrosion, or heavy wear drastically reduces a coin's value. But with something as rare as a 1940 for no mint mark wheat penny, even damaged specimens can be valuable. To put it simply, a damaged 1940 for no mint mark penny might still be worth several $1,000s depending on the severity of the damage and the specific variety of the coin. Prices can skyrocket, even in damaged condition, sometimes exceeding $10,000 if the error is significant enough. If you own a 1940 for no mint mark wheat penny, even a damaged one, get it appraised by a reputable coin dealer or send it for grading to companies like PCGS or NGC. Proper grading can significantly increase your coin's market value. Next up, the 1940 for Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, even in dirty or poor condition. So grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the story and value of this amazing coin. First, let's talk basics. The Lincoln wheat penny, also known as the wheat cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. These coins have the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and wheat stalks on the back. Hence the name. The 1940 for penny is especially interesting. You'll find pennies from that year minted at 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, the Philadelphia Mint did not use a mint mark, so any 1940 for penny without a mint mark is from Philadelphia. But what makes the 1940 for penny without a mint mark so special? Well, the 1940 for wheat penny is not rare in general. Millions were minted, but there's one key factor that can boost its value: condition. And even in dirty or poor condition, some 1940 for pennies are surprisingly valuable. Now, you might be wondering, why would a dirty, worn-out penny be valuable? Usually, collectors want coins in pristine condition, but with the 1940 for wheat penny without a mint mark, it's all about rarity and historical context. Let me give you some background. During World War II, copper was in high demand for war materials. In 1943, pennies were made from steel coated with zinc rather than copper. By 1944, the mint switched back to copper, using recycled shell casings from the war. The 1940 for pennies were made from mostly recycled copper from shells and spent casings, which makes them part of an incredible slice of history. Because of this, these pennies have a special appeal to collectors. To be clear, the 1940 for pennies from Denver and San Francisco carry a D and S mint mark, respectively. Philadelphia coins have no mint mark. The Philadelphia 1940 for penny without a mint mark is the most common, but still holds value due to its copper composition and historical significance. So, what about the value of a dirty 1940 for no mint mark wheat penny? Even if it's heavily worn, scratched, or corroded, it can still fetch some cash as of today. A typical 1940 for wheat penny without a mint mark in poor or dirty condition usually sells for about $200.00. It's common, so not worth a fortune, but still more than face value. Now, if the same penny is in better condition, say, fine to very fine, it can fetch anywhere from $1,000, and if you happen to find a gem quality, uncirculated 1940 for penny with no mint mark, that can go for upwards of $199 sometimes, even more depending on demand and rarity factors like any die errors. So, why the huge price difference? Condition is everything in coin collecting. Scratches, dirt, corrosion, and wear all reduce a coin's grade and value, but even in poor condition, this penny has value beyond its 1-cent face. Also, a quick heads up, there are some rare 1940 for penny varieties that can be worth thousands, like the 1940 for steel penny error, but those are extremely rare and usually not without a mint mark. The 1940 for Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is from Philadelphia. Millions were minted, so it's not rare, but historically significant in dirty or poor condition. It's worth around 300,000 today. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny, but not just any Lincoln Wheat Penny. We're talking about the 1950 3D mint mark in extremely fine condition, a coin that's both a piece of history and a valuable collector's item. First, let's set the stage. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted from 1909 to 1958. These coins are iconic, featuring the profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, hence the name Wheat Penny, introduced to commemorate Lincoln's 100th birthday. These pennies are a staple in American coin collections now. The 1950 3D Wheat Penny comes from the Denver Mint, indicated by the small D mint mark just below the date. In 1953, the U.S. Mint produced over 1 billion pennies nationwide, with Denver alone producing over 400 million of these Lincoln pennies. Given these huge production numbers, the 1950 3D penny is generally not rare, but the value skyrockets when the coin is in extremely fine or better condition. That's where things get interesting. Before we talk value, let's clarify what extremely fine means in coin grading. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state. Extremely fine, often abbreviated as XF or EF, means the coin shows only slight wear on the highest points, with nearly all details sharp and visible. So, how much is a 1950 3D Wheat Penny worth in extremely fine condition today? Well, prices can fluctuate based on demand, rarity in certain grades, and collector interest, but here's the breakdown. But in extremely fine condition, the value can rise significantly, typically ranging from $1.50 up to $400 depending on the coin's appeal. What influences this value? It's all about condition, demand, and rarity. Since over 400 million pennies were minted in Denver in 1953, finding one in extremely fine condition isn't rare, but is still notable. Coins that have retained their original mint luster or have minimal handling marks command the best prices. So there you have it. The 1950 3D Lincoln Wheat Penny in extremely fine condition is a fascinating coin that bridges American history and numismatic value. While it might not be the rarest penny, it's definitely a prized piece for collectors who appreciate condition and detail. Next up, the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny. If you're a coin collector or just curious about rare pennies, stick around because we're uncovering what makes this penny so valuable and how much it could be worth in today's market, especially if it's in fine condition. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, also known as the Lincoln Wheat Cent, was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. These pennies were minted until 1958, and they feature the iconic portrait of Lincoln on the front and wheat ears on the back, a symbol of prosperity and growth in early 20th century America. Now, 1942 was a special year for Lincoln pennies. Because it was minted during World War II, the D mint mark on the coin means it was struck at the Denver Mint, and while most 1942 pennies aren't extremely rare, certain conditions and mint marks can increase their value considerably. So, what makes the 1940 Lincoln Wheat Penny valuable? First, the mintage numbers. In 1942, the Denver Mint produced over 360 million Lincoln cents. That's a huge number. But despite that high mintage, collectors prize pennies that have been well preserved over the decades. Coins in fine condition, meaning they have moderate wear but all major details are still clear, can fetch good prices, especially if they show minimal damage or corrosion. To grade a coin as fine, you want to look for clear details on Lincoln's coat and hair, the wheat stalks on the reverse still defined, and a visible mint mark. It's not uncirculated, but it's definitely above average for a coin that's over 80 years old. So, what's the value today? As of 2025, a 1/942 Lincoln Wheat Penny in fine condition generally sells for around $300 at retail coin shops or online marketplaces. However, if the coin has exceptional eye appeal or is graded fine plus or better by professional services, like PCGS or NGC, it could reach up to $500, but don't get discouraged. Remember, the real value often comes down to the coin's condition and where you sell it. Dealers and collectors are willing to pay more for coins that have strong luster, no corrosion, and a sharp mint mark for comparison. The 1942 Lincoln penny from the Philadelphia Mint, which doesn't have a mint mark, generally trades at similar prices. The San Francisco Mint S pennies can be a bit more valuable if in fine condition because fewer were minted. And just a quick tip, keep your pennies safe. Storing them in a dry, temperature-controlled environment and avoiding PVC plastic holders will help maintain their condition and value. So, there you have it. The 1/942 Lincoln Wheat Penny might not be the rarest penny out there, but in fine condition, it definitely holds collectible value and a piece of American history. If you find one in your change, don't toss it out. It could be worth a bit more than just a penny. Next up, the 1956 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny, specifically those without a mint mark. And here's the twist, we're talking about their value even when they're in dirty, circulated condition. So, if you've ever found one of these old pennies at the bottom of a jar or a couch cushion, stick around because you might be sitting on a hidden treasure. First off, let's talk about the coin itself. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, also known as the Wheat Cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. The obverse, that's the front, features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner, and on the reverse, you've got those famous wheat stalks that give the coin its name now. The 1956 penny was one of the last few years for this design before the reverse changed to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. These pennies were struck in large quantities, but what makes the 1956 without a mint mark special is, well, let's get into that. Most pennies carry a mint mark to tell you where they were produced. For example, D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But 1956 pennies minted in Philadelphia did not have a mint mark. So when you see a 1956 penny with no mint mark, it's from the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia pennies were minted in enormous quantities, hundreds of millions, so at first glance, they might not seem rare or valuable. But condition, errors, and historical significance can shift that value a lot. Here's the thing, when people collect coins, condition is king. Graded coins in mint or near mint condition can sell for much more than those that are dirty, scratched, or worn. But what if you've got a 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark that single quotes S ... well, really dirty, maybe it's grimy, corroded, or just straight up looks like it's been buried in a drawer for decades. In today's market, a dirty, circulated 1956 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark generally has a value close to its face value, that's 1 cent. But there's a catch if the coin has specific features like errors, say, a double die, repunched mint mark, or any other anomaly. Even a dirty penny can fetch more. However, those are pretty rare for this particular year and mint in bulk lots. You might see for $100 coins, mostly for hobbyists or coin sorters now. If you clean the coin improperly, you can actually decrease its value, so it's usually best to leave it as is if you think it might be valuable. One important note, the 1956 Philadelphia penny itself isn't rare. It was produced in massive quantities, over 450 million. So finding one isn't uncommon at all. What is rare and valuable is finding one in exceptionally high grade, or one with a unique error but the sentimental and historical value. It's huge. These pennies commemorate Abraham Lincoln, and the Wheat Penny design is beloved by collectors worldwide. To sum up, The 1956 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark in dirty condition is generally worth just a penny or $1,000 in today's market. But it's a cool piece of American history and a great starting point for any coin collector. Next up, the 1950 penny in very fine condition. What makes this coin special, and how much is it worth in today's market? Let's find out. First off, if you're new to coin collecting, the Lincoln Wheat Penny, also called the Wheat Cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. It features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and to wheat ears on the reverse, which is where it gets its name. Lincoln Wheat Pennies are some of the most beloved coins in American history, not only because of Lincoln's iconic status, but also due to their nostalgic design. The 19560 penny was produced at the Denver Mint, which is indicated by the D Mint mark located just below the date on the coin's front side. Now, the 1950 penny isn't the rarest Lincoln Wheat Penny out there, but in very fine condition, it holds a solid value. What exactly does very fine mean? Let's quickly break down coin grading. Coin grading ranges from poor P1 to mint state MS70. Very fine, or VF, is generally between VF20 and VF35. In this condition, the coin shows moderate wear on high points, but retains most of its major details. The wheat stalks on the reverse and Lincoln's features are still clearly visible, so why does this matter? The condition affects the coin's collector value dramatically. A 19560 penny in circulated condition might be worth just a few cents, but once you move into higher grades like very fine, the value can increase significantly. As of 2025. A 19560 Lincoln Wheat Penny in very fine condition typically sells for around $400 on average. But coins that approach VF35 or higher, with great eye appeal, is that all? Well, not quite. The key to unlocking more value lies in rarity, demand, and collector interest. The 19560 isn't a key date coin like the famous 1909 SVDB penny or the 19140 penny, but it's still a must-have for many collectors aiming to complete a full Lincoln Wheat Penny set. Collectors love the 1950 penny for its place in history. It was minted during a time when America was booming post-World War II, but still used the classic wheat design for one more year before switching to the Lincoln Memorial reverse in 1959. So, how can you tell if your 1950 penny is in very fine condition? Look for clear details in Lincoln's hair and beard, visible lines in the wheat stalks on the back, and moderate but not heavy wear overall. Also, the coin should have a nice coppery red or brown color with no major scratches or corrosion, and if you want to keep your penny in great shape, store it in a protective coin holder, avoid cleaning it with harsh chemicals, and keep it away from moisture and extreme temperatures. To wrap up, the 19560 Lincoln Wheat Penny in very fine condition is a solid collectible. While it's not the most valuable penny out there, it offers great value for beginner and intermediate collectors, typically ranging from $500 depending on exact condition and market demand. Next up, the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark, and why this particular penny can be so valuable, especially in fine condition. If you're a coin collector or just a history buff, stick around because we've got some fascinating details coming your way. First off, let's set the stage. The Lincoln Wheat Penny, also known as the Lincoln Cent, was minted from 1909 to 1958. These coins feature a young Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and to wheat stalks framing the date on the reverse, hence the name Wheat Penny. It was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person, and it has become one of the most collected coins in America. The Lincoln Wheat Penny is a true piece of Americana. Now, within this series, some years and mint marks make certain coins more valuable than others. Before we get into the 1949 penny, let's clarify what without mint mark means. The U.S. Mint places small letters on coins called mint marks to show where the coin was made. For pennies, the common mint marks are D for Denver and S for San Francisco, but for some years, pennies were minted only at the Philadelphia Mint, and those coins have no mint mark at all. So when we say 1949 without mint mark, we're referring to the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny minted in Philadelphia now. Let's focus on 1949. After World War II, the US was going through a period of economic growth, and the Lincoln penny was still a key part of everyday transactions. The 1949 pennies without a mint mark were produced in Philadelphia, and over 400 million of these were struck that year because so many were minted. The 1949 penny is generally common and not very valuable in average circulated condition. However, condition matters a lot when it comes to coin collecting. Coins are graded on their condition, ranging from poor to mint state. For Lincoln Wheat Pennies, fine condition means the coin has moderate wear but all major details are visible. The rims might be slightly worn, but the date and design are clear. So, what's the value of a 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny without mint mark in fine condition today? Well, because it's a common year with a huge mintage, the typical value in fine condition is modest as of 2025. You can expect to see values ranging from about $250.00 for a coin graded as fine. That might not sound like much, but remember, this coin was made to be used in daily commerce. So many don't survive in good condition. To wrap up, the 1949 Lincoln Wheat Penny without mint mark is a classic piece of US coinage that's within reach for most collectors. In fine condition, it's affordable but still a great addition to your collection. Next up, the 1958 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark. Whether you found one in your pocket change or inherited a collection from your grandparents, understanding the value of these pennies can be really exciting and maybe even profitable. So stick around because we're covering everything from what makes this coin special, how to spot an authentic one, what good condition really means, and how much these coins are worth in today's market. First off, a little background. The Lincoln Wheat Penny was minted from 1909 all the way to 1958. The reverse side features the iconic wheat ears on either side, hence the name. The obverse side proudly displays Abraham Lincoln's profile, a design that's beloved by collectors and historians alike now. The 1958 Lincoln Wheat Penny is interesting because it was minted only at the Philadelphia Mint. That means it doesn't have a mint mark at all. Back then, pennies minted in Philadelphia typically didn't carry any mint mark, unlike those from Denver D or San Francisco S. So when you see a 1958 penny with no mint mark, you're most likely looking at a Philadelphia piece. So, why are 1958 wheat pennies special or valuable? Well, for starters, they're part of the post-World War II era, a time when the US economy was booming, but coin mintages were relatively modest compared to other years. The 1958 Philadelphia Mint produced roughly 2.45 billion pennies. While that sounds like a lot, the vast majority of these pennies were circulated and got heavily worn over the years, so finding one in good to excellent condition can be a bit of a treasure hunt. When we talk about a coin's condition, numismatists use a grading scale, everything from good to mint state. For a 1958 wheat penny, condition dramatically affects its value. In good condition, these pennies are pretty common and usually worth just $200 above face value. Here's an example of a 1958 penny in about uncirculated condition. Notice the sharp details on Lincoln's cheek and the wheat stalks on the reverse? Coins like this are rare because most pennies get worn from daily use. So what should you look out for when you're checking your coins? First, make sure the coin is authentic. Avoid counterfeits. Check the details on Lincoln's face, the wheat stalks on the back, and the date. Also, be cautious with cleaning your coins. Cleaning often reduces their value drastically because it can damage the delicate surface and natural patina that collectors prize. Alright, folks, that's a wrap on the 1958 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark. While many of these coins might be worth just a few cents, finding one in excellent or mint condition can make you a nice little profit, especially if you sell to the right buyer. You enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future coin deep dives. And hey, if you have a rare coin you want me to cover, drop a comment below. Thanks for watching and happy hunting out there!